Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash Season 3. Now ever since Barry had fun in the Flashpoint timeline and decided to return to this somewhat normal timeline, we have noticed some major differences already. Apart from the big one, obviously involving the existence of Dr. Alchemy now, and him giving the Flashpoint metahumans their abilities in this new timeline, we also have other ones, such as the existence of Julian Albert now, Barry's new office partner at the Central City Police Department. We now have Dante, Cisco's brother, is dead following an altercation with a drunk driver. And then we also have an effect on Caitlin, who, as we saw in episode 2, now has the metahuman abilities of one Killer Frost. Obviously, she isn't the Killer Frost from Earth 2 that we saw in Season 2, but we will go over all of that in this video. But the main point of what is going to be discussed in this video is how did she get these powers? Was it Flashpoint? Was it Dr. Alchemy? Or was it something else? We will also be going over some details from episodes 5 to 7 of this season, which do play a majorly important role in Caitlin's story. So we will jump straight into it with how did Caitlin get these abilities? As I just stated, there are only really 3 ways in which Caitlin would now, all of a sudden, have these powers. I said these 3 options were Flashpoint, Dr. Alchemy, and then something else. I'll bring up what that something else is when we get around to it later on. So let's start with Flashpoint. So the only person we have seen so far who seems to have something different with them in regards to powers due to Flashpoint is actually Cisco. Because now compared to last season, he seems to be much more confident as well as experienced and knowledgeable with his abilities. But does that mean Flashpoint had an effect on Caitlin and brought these abilities to her? Of course it's a possibility, like it's a major possibility. I do feel we may get 1 or 2 people throughout this season that we have met previously that may have been given powers due to Flashpoint. In regards to Caitlin though, I do think Caitlin has been affected by Flashpoint in regards to her powers, but there is another factor, which is the third thing I will go over in this video. The next option is Dr. Alchemy. Now the reason I'm bringing up Dr. Alchemy in this video is because some subscribers and viewers of the channel brought it up, so I thought I would discuss it. Dr. Alchemy being the cause of Caitlin's powers is very unlikely, as we have already heard on the show that Dr. Alchemy is turning Flashpoint metahumans into metahumans in this timeline. If Dr. Alchemy could just turn random people into metahumans, you would think he would get the worst of the worst and give them abilities to go and cause chaos. As we saw in the Flashpoint timeline, Caitlin was normal. She was an eye doctor, I think. No hints at metahuman abilities either. So I think it's pretty obvious and pretty confirmed and pretty certain that Dr. Alchemy will not have an effect on her in regards to her powers. And lastly, we have the last option, which I haven't revealed yet, and that is dormant metahuman powers. This option may tie in with Flashpoint on the show as well. We have seen 2 metahumans come to light on the show who had dormant metahuman abilities that had something happen to them that actually activated them. If you don't know what dormant means, it essentially means inactive. That's the best way to put it. So in regards to these 2 metahumans who had dormant abilities, they had abilities the whole time since the various incidents happened to them, but they were inactive. These 2 people were Cisco, who had them activated when he was killed by Wellsabard, or the Earbud Thorn from Season 1 pretending to be Earth 1 Harrison Wells. And then Barry ran back in time, which affected Cisco and gave him these abilities. And we had a new one who we met for the first time, with powers at least, and that is Jessie Quick, who had her powers activated when she faced death as she was almost hit by a car. So she was just waiting to be hit by a car, and it just took too long. She opened her eyes and she had this super speed. So with Caitlin, due to Flashpoint or possibly without Flashpoint as well, she had these abilities within her, and only now they are coming to the forefront. Caitlin will have a story arc over episodes 5 to 7 dealing with these abilities and the problems around them. Episode 5 is entitled Monster, and episode 7 is entitled Killer Frost. But we actually have the episode synopsis or description for episode 5, which came out recently over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, which we will quickly go over before we end the video because it contains some stuff that definitely hints that Caitlin is heading down a pretty bad path. As I said, the episode is entitled Monster, and the synopsis goes like this. Desperate to understand what is happening to her, Caitlin visits her mother, Dr. Tannhauser, a renowned biomedical researcher, in hopes that her mother can provide some answers about Caitlin's growing metahuman powers. However, when Dr. Tannhauser treats her daughter like a test subject, Caitlin grows cold and brings up past wounds, causing the two to have a major blowout. Meanwhile, after a mysterious new metahuman attacks Central City, Barry tries to convince Julian to let him assist on the case. So this episode will be out in like 8 days from now when I upload this video, so we will get a trailer for it tomorrow sometime, so not long until this episode comes out. But the biggest thing to take from this episode description is the tension between Caitlin and her mother. As we know in Season 2, when Caitlin met her Earth 2 doppelganger, Killer Frost, the one major thing they had in common was their dislike for their mothers. And they do drop a little bit of a, nod to Caitlin's future possibly when they say Caitlin grows cold and brings up past wounds. So this is only episode 5, and episode 6 is usually the episode where the big bad, which is Savitar, might appear. So Caitlin might have a small arc in there where she goes a bit weird, which then leads on to episode 7, which is actually called Killer Frost. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you think Caitlin did get these abilities? Do you think it was due to Flashpoint? Do you think it's because of the dormant metahuman powers? Or do you for some reason think it was Dr. Alchemy? And do you think Caitlin's mother is going to be a big factor in Caitlin actually officially becoming Killer Frost? Just let me know what you think of all that in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on it, it'd be very much appreciated. And subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you later guys, and goodbye.